I came across an article that I thought you guys would really enjoy, and I wanted to go through this article with all of you here today. That being, guys, video game urban legends and the best of, guys, and I want to kind of go through some of this list with all of you. And I thought that it would be kind of a cool segment, and this is of course our first segment of the show. I thought it would be a cool first segment to kind of kick off today's show, and so let's get right into it. So guys, in this article that was written by Matt Rooney of IGN, like I said, this is the best of video game urban legends. So urban legends have a way of attaching themselves to random parts of everyday life and granting them an unshakable mythos. Bathroom mirrors have Bloody Mary, the sewers of New York have their gators and cannibal humanoids, and there is all manner of creepy, funny, and bizarre legends attached to video games. So here we go, guys. Number 10 is the Madden Curse, which I'm surprised it was actually number 10. But that being said, guys, professional athletes have dreamed their whole lives of making it to the big leagues and all the perks that come with it. But there's that old phrase about being careful what you wish for, and any professional football player who gets drafted to appear on the box art of that year's new edition of Madden NFL might start to regret their fame. The legend goes that along with the prestige of being a cover boy comes a curse, and that causes their upcoming season to be disastrous. So look, with this one in particular, guys, which I'm like pretty familiar with, obviously, the Madden Curse, I feel like the curse was somewhat broken after Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl after being on the Madden cover. But other than that, it has been crazy. I mean, when you look at some of the things that have happened, guys, to these players, the year of they're on that cover is very, very interesting. It does get eerie when you look at stories of players like Dante Culpepper, who after gracing the 2002 cover ended his next season with a back injury. Similar instances of injury, legal trouble, and all other manner of bad luck continue to happen to players who make the cover to this day, to players like the Saints' Drew Brees in 2011, the Vikings' Adrian Peterson in 2014, and the Patriots' Rob Gronkowski in 2017. So, but to be fair, there are some players who walked away from the curse unscathed, like the Lions' Calvin Johnson, who had a great season after making the cover in 2013, as well as Tom Brady in 2018. The Madden Curse, it feels like at times that the curse has been broken, and then just like a year or so after that, you'll see that the curse somehow or another comes back. It is a very interesting one, and I think it's something that we've got to kind of keep our eye on. Number 9, guys, is Kill Switch, the game that deletes itself. 1989's Kill Switch was a game that notoriously deleted itself after you finished it. The game allegedly existed in the late 1980s, and its publisher, the Carvina Corporation, not a real corporation outside of this legend, allegedly only created around 5,000 copies. While there is no firm evidence Kill Switch ever existed, there is a surprising amount of detail out there about it, like the fact you were able to choose to play as a demonish character named Gast or a woman named Porto. Supposedly, players who picked Gast found themselves controlling an invisible fire-breathing mass that was near impossible to navigate with. So, with Kill Switch, guys, I'm not super familiar with this. I did, of course, hear about it, but this was back before I was even born. So this was something that I don't know a whole lot about. Now, the adolescent fantasy codes, with the introduction of 3D video game women straight out of the male gaze fantasy like Lara Croft or any number of the playable fighters in Tekken or Street Fighter, came rumors that there were, in fact, codes that could make them wear less. Perhaps the most famous of these is the infamous Lara Croft nude code, which began circulating as far back as the original 1996 game's release, flooding early message boards. No code like that ever existed, at least in the public realm, but of course, that didn't stop the rumors. So, of course, I am aware of this one. This was obviously very interesting. I never saw it, obviously, but and I don't think I know anyone who did either. But that's what is the beauty, guys, as far as these codes and how word gets around about, these things and how that they, were supposedly real. But at the same time, all of these are obviously just pure speculation. That's why they're urban legends. Saddam Hussein tried to use the PS2 to take over the world. Considering the power we're playing with today, it's hard to imagine that PlayStation 2 was once considered a pinnacle of console hardware. In fact, the 32-bit CPUs inside the machine were so powerful at the time that it spurred a terrifying urban legend that capitalized on geopolitical issues that may ring freaky even today. The legend goes that with the release of the PS2 in 2000, Saddam Hussein and the Iraq government bought thousands of them with the intent of harvesting the processors and using them in their own weapons of mass destruction, as this supposedly would have been the easiest way to get a hold of the expensive high-tech material. So this is really, obviously we heard of this, guys, but obviously I don't know if there's really any evidence to show of this at any point in time. It doesn't seem like there was much evidence, but you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if, some political leader, whatever the case might be, if there was something in one of these consoles that they felt was going to help them achieve whatever amount of power that they can get. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually tried that. Pokemon's deadly Lavender Town music. As the world of Pokemon has expanded over the years, it's become more cute and colorful. However, for players old enough to remember, older Pokemon video games weren't always this way. In fact, they could be downright unsettling. Lavender Town in Pokemon Red and Blue, Green in Japan on the original Game Boy, for example, is home to the infamous Pokemon Graveyard, reminding all players that yes, your Pokemon will die at some point because nothing in the world is fair. Making matters more unsettling is the eerie, high-pitched, minimalist music from composer Junichi Masuda that plays as you pass through the town. It was so unnerving that, according to the legend, the original Japanese versions of Red and Blue caused the death of several children who played it, known around the internet as Lavender Town Syndrome. A legend varied in the telling, but the general thrust was that it caused children to have a mental break that led to suicide. So, once again, I've never been really big into the Pokemon games, guys, but this is not something that I really even really remember hearing about whatsoever. Now, look, obviously, this was back on the Game Boy. I had a Game Boy myself, but like I said, I didn't really play Pokemon, so I wouldn't really know much about this whole Lavender Town Syndrome. I was a little bit too young to really probably have any idea what was going on with something like this, but look, at the end of the day, I will never say never to anything, guys. There's always possibility that these things could be true, and that's what makes them really unnerving and very interesting, to say the least. The CIA designed a mind control arcade game. It's no secret that many urban legends are just a hair's breadth away from conspiracy theories, and the tale of Polybus bridges that gap like few others. The story dates back to the early 1980s when arcade cabinets for a game called Polybus were delivered to arcades around Portland, Oregon. Players flocked to the weird new puzzle shooter that featured plenty of strobing effects and twisty visuals, which supposedly led some to experience mental health issues, amnesia, and more sinister problems. If this wasn't bad enough, the legend goes that the CIA was behind it, collecting data about the players of the machine and using brainwashing technology to infect the minds of young arcade goers. Now, once again, this is something that it wouldn't be super surprising. However, I don't know about the necessarily about the brainwashing technology, but I do wonder about collecting data. That would be something that if something like that's been going on for all those years, because we all know, guys, with our phones, smartphone devices, iPads, and things of that nature, that obviously government or, companies are collecting our data, and that's pretty much just public knowledge at this point. But the question really comes down to, for me at least, is the brainwashing technology that caused hallucinations and amnesia and other, health issues, which is very interesting to me, and something that we'll have to kind of, obviously it's something that we'll never know, but I wouldn't be surprised definitely about the collecting data. I would definitely want to hear from you guys what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Number 4 is Diablo Secret Warrior Cows. Soon after the first Diablo came out back in the late 90s, many players fervently believed that there was a secret realm full of warrior cows. While there are cows you can interact with in Diablo, don't expect to get further than a benign moon. rumors began to circulate that there was actually a way to access an entire cow dimension wherein you could slaughter a group of future hamburgers who have gone through a Planet of Apes style evolution and are ready to fight back intruders. While this was initially just a rumor, it became a meme in the Diablo community, inspiring Blizzard to include a secret cow level in Diablo 2 by combining a certain set of items. A portal opens up and allows players to enter the actual cow dimension, also known as Moo Moo Farms, where the player will encounter Hel Bavine, led by the mighty Cow King, if only all developers took fan theories this seriously. So that's something, guys, that I did hear about, but obviously I never saw it, never saw it myself, other than, of course, the Blizzard version that they brought out. This one's really interesting, though. The San Andreas Sasquatch, whether it be in any of America's dense dark forests or in the fictitious hills of a video game world, people are hungry to find the mighty and elusive Bigfoot. In 2004, the mythical beast allegedly leaped out of North American folklore and into Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Fans reportedly started seeing the mythical ape in the hills of Baco Beyond, claiming they had seen a tall, dark figure somewhere on the screen, only to vanish before they could get a good look. Rockstar has since gone on to say there is no such thing as a Bigfoot in its game, but dedicated myth hunters still believe in its existence. The legend has become so popular in GTA lore that Rockstar went on to include a Bigfoot mission in Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, and even put a nod to that in GTA 5. There was even a well-hidden Easter egg in GTA 5 that let players unlock the ability to play as the beast. Also, they could lumber around the city as an 8-foot tall, 600-pound gorilla man, then hop into an SUV and run over some pedestrians. So this one, guys, obviously I heard of, but also this is something I would not be surprised if Rockstar did this. It just wouldn't be surprising at all. Think about it. I mean, all the stuff that they do in their games, all the different controversies and things of that nature. I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that they actually did do. They're obviously denying it, but then they added, of course, an Undead Nightmare and such. So to me, if you were to say, Zero, do you think Rockstar did this or not? I would say I think that they would. Why wouldn't they do something like that? Some cheeky little Easter egg or, some kind of something in there that's hidden, maybe even deep in the files and such. I mean, you always see these different people who go into game files and they start looking at things, and there's all kinds of things that are hidden within these games. Like you kind of move the camera around to certain angles and you see certain things, like in God of War. Very interesting things like that. But I wouldn't be surprised nonetheless. Shang was a secret boss in Street Fighter 2. Anyone who frequented an arcade around 1991-92 likely has fond memories of spending endless quarters on Street Fighter 2, mastering the styles of your favorite characters and greatly accelerating your arthritis. Likewise, if you were in the SF2 loop, there was a good chance you had heard the legend of Shang, a mysterious secret character lurking somewhere within the game. The rumor was based on a mistranslation of Ryu's famous Shoryuken attack, Shang in the Latin spelling of the Chinese characters that Ryu spouted during one of his victory quotes. You must defeat Shang to stand a chance. The rumor was bolstered by an April Fool's joke in the April 92 issue of EGM that claimed they had discovered how to unlock the secret boss. All you had to do was beat the whole game without taking any damage and not land a single punch on M. Bison at the end, meaning you must let the timer run out instead. No biggie. This was eventually corrected in the user manual for the 1992 SNES port, wherein the design team got in on the joke and officially named Shang as Ryu's master, and later incorporated him into a 1993 Street Fighter comic series. So very interesting. And then, of course, the last one, guys, blowing on your Nintendo cartridge actually did something. Anyone who grew with cartridge-based gaming has run into the same problem at one point, and no doubt the same solution. You pop in a cartridge for some reason, nothing seems to be working. You take out the cartridge, give it a good blow, thinking the problem might be dust in the cartridge, and presto, your game is working again. But was the blowing on the cartridge ever actually effective, or is it just something that made its way around the playground? Turns out this trick that made you feel like a genius years ago wasn't really doing anything. While the blowing gave our brain some sort of comfort, the reality is that Nintendo's connectors in the system could often wear out over time, especially in the NES. But simply taking out the cartridge and putting it back tended to do the job, though that didn't stop each and every one of us from taking deep breaths and fixing them ourselves. So that's a super interesting one. I remember that, guys. You know, there's other ways, of course, and other things that we've done in the past, guys, that would kind of be somewhat reminiscent of what they're talking about with the Nintendo cartridge, because I remember that doing that on a number of occasions with my Game Boy Advance. And I would say, guys, that it's hard to say, but at the same time, it's crazy to think that, yeah, you thought that was what you were supposed to do, because you kind of word got around, right? That's what you were supposed to do with the Nintendo cartridges, but obviously that's, you know, it didn't really do anything at all. So what a crazy urban legend, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section below, which one do you guys like the most on this list? What urban legends have you guys heard that you would like to share? Let us know in the comment section below. And for more videos like this, stay here with Zero TV.